of the Senate, I stand before you this afternoon to thank you for the support you have given and you are still giving to the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. As you can see today, another landmark achievement was recorded by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria through a singular action of passing into law 56 amendments of 7 different acts, that is an existing act, which include the Company Income Tax Act, the Petroleum Profit Tax Act, the Capital Gain Tax Act, the Stamp Duty, the Personal Income Tax, and also the Custom and Excise Duty. In total, from the Company Income Tax, a total number of 26 amendments was sought. On the Personal Income Tax, a total number of 8 amendments was sought. On the Stamp Duty, a total number of 14 amendments was sought. On the Custom and Excise, a total number of 1 amendment was sought. On the Petroleum Profit Tax, a total number of 1 amendment was equally sought. And on the Value-Added Tax, a total number of 4 amendments was sought. But I want to make it loud and clear that the finance bill just passed today is not about VAT alone. Yes, VAT become a very major concern because of the increment that they have sought for, that is from 5 to 7.5%. But also included in this finance bill, we now have reliefs for some small companies. That is, if your revenue as a company is less than 25 million naira, you are exempted from payment of VAT and also tax. We also went a step further, that if you are a company which we have tagged to be a medium company, whose revenue is less than 100 million, your company income tax has been reduced from 30 to 20%. Not only that, long before now, activities in the capital market has been at the lowest ebb. But with this single action of passing this bill into law, we have activated the capital market. What do I mean by that? In the past, I have shares. I keep it there. I cannot use it to do any transaction. But by the passage of this act, you can now use your shares to borrow money. You can now use your shares to borrow money, where the dividend paid on those shares can be used as an interest on the money borrowed. By singular passage of this act, that has been achieved. Also, we are forward-looking with this act that has just been passed. Long before now, billions of dollars of transactions happen on the internet. Companies not physically domiciled in Nigeria. People buy something on an Amazon, you buy something on Google, you do a transaction with YouTube and everything. At zero cost to us as a nation. No revenue derived. So by passage of this act, we have succeeded in putting in place a mechanism whereby all those e-commerce transactions, Nigeria can start gaining something from it. And these are in accordance with global best practices. And we have put a proviso there that it will be the duty of the minister to determine a substantial economic importance of this particular transaction within the in-country. Not only that, we are also forward-looking by ensuring that this VAT increase being sought from 5 to 7.5%, comparison were done between our own country and other countries of the world. before coming to a final conclusion as to agreeing to the increment of these VATs. And what is even the distribution of the gain derived from these VATs? 85% of what is collected on this VAT go to the state and local government. Only a paltry sum of 15% stay with the federal government. We make bold to say this, that we are not after putting any untold hardship on a common man. A lot of vatable expense that ordinarily would have gone to be charged as VAT has been exempted because of the less privileged people. Now, if you decided to eat yam and egg, and you decided to go to the market, buy your yam and your egg, and cook it in your room and eat, you are exempted from VAT. But the moment you decided to go to that hotel and eat that same yam and egg, you can cook in the four wall of your room. That is luxury. Then you have to pay for it. It has been simplified to that level. And a lot of reliefs, exemptions has been granted. Also, the issue of minimum tax. We have decided to collapse all the various calculations that have been used. 0.215 of net asset, 0.5 of total profit, 0.5 of actual profit. All of these, we have decided to do away with it and have one single source of minimum tax of is 0.5%. And we are so careful in this. There are people, school of thought, who share that. Why don't we go in terms of using profit instead of turnover? And we said, if we go to profit, every profit that is declared zero naira will not pay tax. We are also move a step further with insurance companies. Long before now, insurance companies can only carry forward their loss for 4 years, while other companies can carry forward their losses for many years as possible. And that has limited the performance of our insurance company to compete with other peers of theirs across the world. So this act has removed this impediment by allowing insurance companies to carry forward their losses for as many years as possible. Not only that, we have also ensured that everyone who work in the oil and gas company, because there are a lot of ulabalus from the oil producing companies concerning the removal of that particular clause that they enjoy in the past. And what does that clause tend to say? Long before now, aside the 85% profit that we charge under our petroleum profit tax, any interest derived thereafter in form of dividend or so, no withholding tax are charged. So the government has said, we are going to revoke or repeal this particular section, that after the share of profit to all the shareholders of the oil and gas company, you are to pay to the government 10% withholding tax of every dividend collected. And let me say this for clarification and for benefit of doubt. We are not putting this burden on the oil and gas company. We are only saying only the profit, dividend collected by shareholders, that they should pay withholding tax on. Long before now, all these were not part of the bill. And that is why I'm here today to assure Nigerians that yes, we have passed the finance bill. Finance bill is a 7-in-1 bill that sought a total of 56 amendments and which I've ruled out accordingly. So, going forward, this is going to be an annual tradition where every appropriation act comes with it a finance bill. Our laws are long overdue to be amended. This is just the first step and a step in the right direction. We are the last time many of these laws were amended was 20 years ago. And if you and I look at what is currently happening in the international community and globally, you will know that we are far behind. So thank you. God bless you. Let me start. Okay, let me take this too. Now, the first one, I want to say this, please, for the benefit of doubt and for the opted time. This bill is not about increments in tax. The only increment being sought for is on the issue of VAT, which is from 5 to 7.5%. And as you all know, by definition of VAT, it has to do with luxury, only luxury. And I've made a very simple explanation as to what and what can be done to have avert or avoid this particular. So there has not been any tax increase whatsoever. Maybe on the pay as you earn, there was no increment of any nature on personal income tax, which I believe have direct impact on the people of Nigeria. On the company income tax, which has remained 30%, it has remained 30%. There have not been any increment of any sort on any Nigerian. On the minimum tax, as I've said long before now, there are various permutations also that was used in computing minimum tax. What we have done is only to streamline and use one singular method to compute minimum tax. So all of these are the very few that I can mention, but attracts no any direct impact on Nigerians except on luxury item which relates to VAT. Secondly, I'm coming, sir. On the issue of stamp duty, let me take this. I'm coming. Okay, well, you could, if you listen with rapt attention, which I believe you did, there were commendation and a lot of commendation on the part of the government, and areas where issues were raised are no more than 5 out of these 56 amendments that have been solved. One, issue of VAT. Two, issue of minimum tax. 3, issue of why don't we reduce the less than 25 million for companies operating in Nigeria to be regarded as a small company, and one other 2 like that. So when you look at a bill of 56 amendments being solved, and only areas where observation were raised is just 5 or 6, what extra effort do you want to give by looking into it? So there are other areas which we look into objectively as a committee. But yes, a lot of items raised or amendment being sought are very reasonable, and we work within that line to ensure that yes, we give a very, very detailed information concerning each section that been sought. On the issue of the advert that said joint and the House of Representatives, I want to say this and clear. There is no issue between the Senate and the House Committee on Finance. The Honorable Chair of the committee is my brother, and we are working together on this particular item before us. I speak with that with emphasis, and I say that boldly. They are carried along, they are part and parcel of this. They cannot be joined, and their secretariat work with us thoroughly. But because of the independence of both chambers, they felt that the public hearing, yes, we might have gone for, but there's nothing bad by saying, okay, let's organize our own public hearing, at least for the. We did MTF together, we did appropriation this thing together, and we organized our own public hearing. And their own public hearing is coming up on Tuesday. And there is not, and you can go there, no dissenting voice or issues between the House Committee on Finance and the Senate Committee on Finance. We are partners in progress, and we are working towards the one common goal of returning Nigeria to a budget year of January to December 31st every financial year. Yes. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Quickly to make we know where the stamp duty money is. The money is with the Central Bank of Nigeria. And why is it so? There are issues, yes, I agree, on who collects stamp duty. See, the FIRS or the Nigerian Postal Services. And I know there is litigation in court about who is the rightful that should collect this revenue. And on that note, there is need for the money to be warehoused somewhere, and the money is warehoused in the Central Bank of Nigeria. That is where the stamp duty money is. For the amendment being sought, and you know you cannot embark on any transaction illegally, there are different kind of stamp duties all over the world. There is all this, what do we have it? This postage stamp duties. There are stamps that are used in authenticating documents and so on. And also the latest, which is the e-stamp duty collection. Nigeria, the act we currently have, we don't have e-stamp duty collection. And there is need to amend the existing act to accommodate this particular transaction. And that is the amendment being sought for in the Stamp Duty Act that we have just currently passed. That there is need for us to have in the bill an act for us to be able to collect e-stamp duty collection through the banks. And as such, we are. And once this issue is resolved, either between the FRS and NIPOST, anything regarding and surrounding the issue of stamp duty collection will be made known. And don't forget, long before now, FIRS collects stamp duty. And if you look at their revenue charts, which they collect on behalf of the 36 states of the country and the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So money remitted to the Federation account by FIRS, contained in it is the stamp duty. So Nigeria knows where this money is. And as per attending the public hearing of the Federal House of Reps, my dear brother, if to go and give them that sense of belonging as a brother to them, there is nothing bad in there. As far as I'm concerned, I'm free. I have passed the bill in the Senate. The honors lies on them to pass. And if they so desire and ask for my support as an experienced legislator of repute, I will be there to give that support and give that. And as a chartered accountant of so many years back now, I will be there to render that support. And so there is nothing bad if I decide to go and attend their own public hearing. So I'm not shying away from that. Now, wait. Now, that's the question. Yes.
Okay. No, Bishop first before you. You are the last person. That's how we follow it.
I'm coming. Let me start with this. One, let me start with this. For my brother in Vanguard who raised the question that in Nigeria where there is somehow some economic challenges, do I think that it is right for us to conduct a public hearing and the House of Reps should also do the same? Yes, I think it's right. It's very, very right. It's just because we have decided to find new love in this ninth National Assembly that we have decided to embark on joint sitting. House of Reps is independent of the Senate and the Senate is independent of the House of Reps. So that we have decided to hold separate joint sitting also, as there is no new thing on that. This has happened in so many years back and it will continue to happen for a foreseeable future as long as we practice bicameral kind of legislature. That would be my answer to that. Secondly, on the issue of what do I think is the right VAT to be charged, I can say this. In the report I've just submitted to the Senate, I try as much as possible to give details in numbers of VAT that are charged across the world. Each country's amount charged as VAT. One reason I've done that is justification as to why we should support the idea of increment of this VAT from 5 to 7.5%. And yes, I asked the Honorable Minister because I am playing safe. If tomorrow they come back and say they want to increase VAT again, what will be the justification? Now that we have the opportunity, do you think is the best figure to? And she said yes. And we looked at it. We not just agreed. And you see, let me say this. I've said that when somebody said, "What have you done that they are commending you?" I've not said for any commendation. I have done what I'm voted for to do as the representative of the people. I have not seek or asked for anybody's commendation, and I will not ask. I'm a professional par excellence. I enjoy what I do. Yes, if they still give me another 50 bills to be amended or to be worked upon, I will still do the same. As I've said, we have applied all sense of reasonableness in what we do. We cannot just say it's about, you see, we have to be careful. I've said the bill passed into law. It's not about VAT alone. And I have read out in my earlier submission what are the ingredients contained in that bill. And if I could go through 56 of these ingredients, which they have sought for, and I found out that more than 90% or 95% of these are sensibly enough for me to tag along. I don't just come and say, okay, this is no. I conducted a public hearing. People submitted a memorandum to me, but nobody. This is about money. This is about revenue. This is about income. This is about tax. We will not have one thing or the other to raise. The OPTS people, the oil producing company, came to us and insisted that they have been paying 85% profit. They should not charge them additional 10% withholding tax. But what is their justification? People came to board and said the minimum tax should be reduced from 0.5 to 0.25. Where are the data to back your argument? Some people came forward. I said, why don't you make sure that the 25 million naira, which is for a small company, be reduced to 50 million? Where are the documents and figures to back your arguments? At this point in time, we ensure we go into detailing. I am a representative of the people. I'm not representing the executive. And I should only do those things that will make the people happy, not the executive. And what they have sought for, 90% of what they have sought for is basically for ease of doing business. And it is crystal clear. A copy of the bill is in circulation that everybody can go through clause by clause and what they are sorting or asking for. And let us now assess, if you are in my shoe, you will do anything different. I so submit. Thank you. Yeah? Chairman, come and take 250,000 for your people. 250.